to the Knight Arena at Southern Virginia University for today's men's volleyball match featuring the Arcadia University Knights and your Southern Virginia University Knights. The NCAA and the Continental Volleyball Conference promote good sportsmanship by student athletes, coaches, and spectators. We request your cooperation by supporting participants and officials in a positive manner. Profanity, racial, or sexist comments or intimidating actions directed at coaches, players, officials, or any other team representatives will not be tolerated and are grounds for removal. Also, the consumption or possession of alcoholic beverages and tobacco is strictly prohibited. Failure to adhere to these policies may result in immediate dismissal. President Denna and the Southern Virginia University staff thank you for your support of the student athletes and coaches participating in today's contest. Stay away from the playing area and team bench areas. Thank you for your cooperation, and go Knights! Ladies and gentlemen, in accordance with tradition at Southern Virginia University, we will begin with a word of prayer, which will be offered by Brenna Clyde, a sophomore on the women's volleyball team.
Heavenly Father, we're grateful for the opportunity we have to come and watch these players at this game. Please bless at this time that both players on both teams will play well to the best of their abilities, that they will have no harm or injury come upon them. And please bless that we'll have good sportsmanship and that we'll have a good game today. We say this in Jesus Christ, amen.
Now, if you will all please rise and face the flag for the playing of our nation's national anthem. Thank you. And now for your starting lineups. Starting tonight for the Arcadia Knights. At outside hitter,
welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Knight Arena, located on the beautiful campus of Southern Virginia University, the site for today's NCAA Division III men's volleyball matchup, which is the Battle of the Knights today. Of course, it's the Knights of Arcadia University featuring also your Knights of Southern Virginia University. I'm Dawson Weidrich, joined once again by my good friend Colby Kemp for what should be yet another entertaining display of volleyball here in the barn between two teams whose seasons at the early goings are kind of on different trajectories. Right now, Southern Virginia starting off the season 2-0 and not losing a single set so far. Then, of course, you have Arcadia University starting 0-2. They've won a couple of sets. They won 2 against Lancaster Bible, a team that Southern Virginia has already played earlier in the season. But right now, if you're Arcadia University, you're looking to right the ship.
Absolutely, they're coming in here. They're going to want to find some good stuff. They're coming off a loss to number 10 Rutgers Newark. And now with their good luck, they're coming in here tonight Arena to play the number 12 ranked now Southern Virginia University Knights.
And they're going to have to do it possibly very short-handed because they came in here and their leader in kills for the year so far was Andrew Ahn, the freshman opposite from Boys, Maryland. And he was actually here on the court and in pregame sustained an injury, a lower body injury. We're not sure if he's able to play today, but if he's not able to play, that is a huge blow to an Arcadia University team in a game that was already going to be a difficult challenge for you.
Oh, absolutely. You come in, anytime you lose, one of your top player, top 2 or 3 players is going to be difficult. Like you say, they are a little overmatched tonight against Southern Virginia. Southern Virginia's come out, had 2 very impressive wins. The first match of the year, they swept the opponent, Penn State Altoona, that night, and every player on the roster was able to see some action. And then last week we also saw them against Lancaster Bible. The rotation was tightened a little bit, but still the Knights overpowered Lancaster Bible and took the match 3-0.
Absolutely, and like I mentioned before, they have yet to lose a single set in this young 2023 season. Of course, Arcadia looking to change that, but I mentioned Andrew On being one of the statistical leaders for the Knights of Arcadia, and I mentioned to you before the game, Colby, that when you have a key player like that go down in pregame and presumably not play, again, we're not sure if he's able to do that today, looks like he is not, that changed up a game plan on both sides. For Arcadia, it makes it to where you have to rely on your other weapons. And for Southern Virginia, you've been practicing all week, looking at this one player, saying we're going to key on him. Now you have to change up your whole strategy.
Well, that's one of the things you and I always have the conversation about, where there's a team that appears to be more dominant than the other one. Can they come out and take care of business the way they ought to? And so that's the challenge tonight. Already knowing, they're probably the superior team on the floor, but now they're facing Arcadia without their top player.
Absolutely, which in theory could make things easier for Southern Virginia, but again, when you change with the strategy a little bit and you have to approach it a different way, it can make it to where it's difficult to adjust. Of course, the Knights of Southern Virginia taking the floor, a lot of energy here in Knight Arena, supporting their men's volleyball program, which has been very successful the past several years. Multiple-time conference champions, multiple-time national tournament appearances. And this Southern Virginia campus and fan base is always very excited to see what they bring to the table, especially in this young season. So we'll get things started off here at the barn of Southern Virginia once again. I'm Dawson Weeder, joined by my good friend Colby Kemp. We're excited. It's always good to be here in the barn. Got Justin Madsen here, the libero for Southern Virginia, coming on the floor. And for Arcadia, their libero as well. Number 17, Vincent Colucci, who is their leader in digs so far this year with 19 digs to his name, the junior from Massapequa Park, New York. Say that 10 times fast. But again, today, you've seen Southern Virginia so far this year utilize so many of their young weapons. You have, Christian Schaefer really able to take advantage at the net. Of course, his brother Tyler Schaefer leading the team in assists and having just absolutely pitch-perfect passes and sets all season long. Of course, that season only being 2 games long. But with that being said, back to serve for the Knights is number 15, Jayton Hall. Another one of the statistical leaders for the Knights so far in the young season. Here's Hall. That serve just a little long. So the first point of the game goes to Arcadia.
Yeah, one thing to point out real quick is we have a new starter here from Southern Virginia Knights, Cristo Bianchine, making his first start of the year.
Absolutely, and he's been very instrumental so far the past couple of games, getting plenty of playing time, able to make solid plays. Bianchine has that athletic ability, that hitting power. And Jayton Hall hesitates in the air, floats it over the blockers at the net, able to even it back up at 1 point apiece. Back to serve now will be number 4, Jeremy Brown. Jeremy Brown goes into this game with 18 kills on the year. Solid serve, gets a little assist from the ceiling of the barn. Goes down as a service ace for Brown. Brown back to serve once again. That lands just inside, giving another point to Arcadia.
Good court vision there to put that ball down cross court and just catch the line there to score that point there for Arcadia.
Yeah, absolutely. There was nobody in that far side at the 10-foot line. So like you said, perfect placement. Now back to serve for Arcadia is number 3, Danny Gonzalez, the junior from Ponce, Puerto Rico. And that'll go down as a kill. No surprise there, Christian Schaefer. Schaefer came into this game with 22 kills to his name, leading the Knights in that category. Now Cristo Bianchine will be back to serve for the Knights of Southern Virginia. That's going to be fun all night long, having to specify which Knights you're talking about. Makes things a little interesting. Here's Bianchine. A lot of the serves for Southern Virginia so far just a little too strong. Of course, that'll be corrected as the match goes along. Back to serve for Arcadia is number 16, Kevin Abraham. Comes into this game with 14 kills. That serve just short. Now back to serve for Southern Virginia is Tyler Schaefer from Palmyra, Pennsylvania. And able to knock that one down is number 7, Ryan Miller. Even though he had both Steven Rasmussen and Jayton Hall right in front of him. Now back to serve as number 1, Owen Heft, coming into this game with 11 kills. Heft also has 3 service aces to his name. Here's Schaefer. That goes down for him off the hand of Dylan Zimmerman as it goes out of bounds. And gives Southern Virginia back the lead. Now Christian Schaefer will serve. It's a beautiful setup there for Ryan Miller. Arcadia just not able to knock it down. Able to put it back. I believe that was Rasmussen with his hand there. He really saved that play twice. They set him up for the quick 1 hit. Then it was hit back to him. He hit it back over the net. Then on the attempt to get it back over for Arcadia, he was right there, able to put it right back down.
A little sloppy play there at the net a couple times, not utilizing 3 hits, but he was able to get the point there for the Knights.
Impressive digging it out of the net that time was Vaughn McConnell. Back row hit from Schaefer. Diving for that time was number 12, Vaughn McConnell, but it goes down for the Knights of Southern Virginia.
Christian Schaefer's been so impressive so far this year. So consistent, everything that he does. You know, here we have, he scored 2 points here on his service here early in this first game.
And again, for a sophomore, he's really been a primary tool for Southern Virginia to put points on the board. Brown had to set up real quickly, and then once again, puts in a lot of power behind that hit. It's the antenna, point for Southern Virginia. The down ref not liking something that he saw. Talking now with number 12, Vaughn McConnell of Arcadia. Maybe a question about who it hit off of or whatever the case may be. Regardless, Christian Schaefer back to serve once again. That hit too strong that time from Dylan Zimmerman. Point Arcadia. Now, we've talked about so far in the first couple of games for Southern Virginia how impressive the power is behind a lot of their serves. But so far tonight, we've seen a lot of great back row work from number 3, Danny Gonzalez, on serve receive. Make sure he can set up plays for the Knights of Arcadia.
And that's going to be key for them tonight to be able to stay in this match. Just going back to the first 2 matches, that's something the other 2 opponents of Southern Virginia have really struggled with.
Absolutely, and that hit goes out. Point for the Knights. And coming in to serve for Southern Virginia is number 13, the senior Jeff Tomlinson, the senior from Chandler, Arizona. And also checking back in for the Knights of Southern Virginia is number 1, Crystal Bianchi. Serve just short for Tomlinson. Wanted that top spin, trying to get it to fall inside that 10-foot line. Which again, if you're able to accomplish that on a serve, it's incredibly hard to defend against. Number 7, Ryan Miller, the junior from Reading, Pennsylvania, back to serve. Diving for it was Schaefer, but it sails out. Point for Arcadia.
There haven't been too many of those served this year against the Southern Virginia Knights.
Yeah, very few that they have not been able to handle. Bianchi gets that one to fall. He almost had to hit it at the level of his head. He had to kind of make sure he didn't push the ball. Again, Bianchi just elevates so high up there that if the set's just a little bit short, he might as well head it like a soccer player.
And he's quick with that jump. He gets off his feet in a hurry and elevates. And we've talked about it before. That's the one play there. The Knights, still working on that timing a little bit.
And a call on net on Arcadia. I believe they're going to say that number 16, Kevin Abraham, got into the net. Another point for Southern Virginia with number 15, Jayton Hall, back to serve.
Hey, watch the overpass!
Just trying to get it back over. Here's Brown on the outside. Off the hand of number 12, Vaughn McConnell. That goes down for Jeremy Brown. Hall back to serve once again. The Knights now holding a 5-point lead in this first set. That serve just short. That makes now 4 service errors for the Knights compared to Arcadia's 1. Here's Bianchi. Despite the interference in the net a little bit, and able to make his way over, making a point for Southern Virginia.
Home court advantage right there, knowing the net, knowing how taut it is.
Arcadia not able to set anything up there. Bianchi, solid hit, a great dig from McConnell. Here's Schaefer. Great positioning that time by Danny Gonzalez, but it falls in front of him and out of bounds. Point for Southern Virginia. Got a timeout here by Arcadia University as they find themselves down by 6 in this opening set. We're seeing a lot of great plays from both sides right now. In Arcadia, they have the middle blockers where they need to be. Nobody's really out of position. They have some good back row play going on. It's just, I feel like right now the main separator is the quality of hits that Southern Virginia's been able to get, right? I mean, again, we talk about Schaefer, we talk about Jeremy Brown, we talk about Hall, and they're hitting at a very high percentage right now of 667 compared to Arcadia, negative 71.
And that stat right there is something that's been the case all year.
Right.
Each of the Knights' opponents, I believe, have finished the matches finishing in the negative percentages.
It's absolutely true, and it makes it really difficult for a team if you're not really able to set up a successful attack. And we've seen several situations where the set for the outside hitter just wasn't where it needed to be. It was either too low and too close to the net, so they were resorted to simply setting it back over just to live another play, whereas they should have been able to take advantage of that because you're not going to get very many clean attacks against the Southern Virginia team.
And they're always right there, right at the net. They always are very organized with their blocks, and like you said, that's going to be the difference there, is how sharp Arcadia can be. They're going to have to take advantage of the opportunities that they do have to be able to stay in the match and put some pressure on the Knights from Southern Virginia.
Jeremy Brown back to serve once again. And it lands right in the corner for a service ace for Jeremy Brown. It was such a close call that both the up ref and the line judge had to look at each other and discuss, was that in? And indeed it was. Blocked straight down by Bianchi. You look at the definition of a block in volleyball, you'll come up with a short little clip of that play right there. Perfectly in position, his hands will push towards the center. Of course, that serve from Jeremy Brown goes out. Now back to serve for Arcadia's number 3, Danny Gonzalez. Danny Gonzalez, one of the leaders in hitting percentage as well as in kills so far in this game. Youngkin trying to get it up. Schaefer to Schaefer. And that's going to land inbounds and be a kill for number 8, Dylan Zimmerman.
Yeah, I think Christian would like to have that kill back.
Yeah.
I think he thinks he could do a little bit better than he did right there.
And he normally does, and he saw the opening. But again, we've just seen some great back row defense from this Arcadia team, and also just great defense in general at the net. Here's Hall. That one sails out of bounds. He had a wide open spot to hit in that backside. Just put a little bit too much power into it. So Arcadia brings it back within 5.
Are you ready? Ready? Go ahead.
Here's Bianchine. Gets another one. Bianchine now with 3 kills. We got senior Steven Rasmussen checking back in for Southern Virginia. With Cristo Bianchine back to serve. Great receive that time from Vincent Colucci. They're calling net here. And they catch, I believe, Christian Schaefer going into the net. Back to serve for Arcadia is Kevin Abraham, the senior from North Wales, Pennsylvania. That serve just short. One of the few service errors in this first set for Arcadia. Now back to serve for Southern Virginia is number 10, Tyler Schaefer. Rising up and throwing it down is number 7, Ryan Miller, even with Rasmussen right there. Now back to serve for Arcadia is Owen Heft, the senior from White House Station, New Jersey. Another service error, back-to-back situations where that happens for Arcadia. Puts Southern Virginia at 19 points. The ceiling of the arena here providing some assistance, and that falls just short of Justin Madsen as he dove for it on the floor. Great effort from Madsen to be there, but regardless, goes down to the point for Arcadia.
I thought Justin just might have gotten to that one, popped that up, but
it was very, very close. Zimmerman back to serve. Solid hit from Rasmussen, but a good dig from Heft. Here's Hall. Hall wanted that one, you could tell. He had that one hit a couple plays ago where it went just far to the outside, and he knew he wanted that one back.
And that was one where Arcadia just wasn't organized on their block, and he had a free shot there.
Absolutely. So now checking in for Southern Virginia to serve is number 18, Kyler Evans, the 6'8" sophomore from Gilbert, Arizona. That falls just a little outside. We've seen him get some quality minutes so far in this young season.
Oh, definitely. He's come in. You know, he played last week, both games, and came in and gave some good quality minutes and really held it down.
Now back to serve for Arcadia's number 7, Ryan Miller. Nice float serve. Back row, Schaefer. That sails out. Another point for Arcadia. That's one of those things in volleyball where in the first set, you'll see either one of two things. A lot of hits and serves go too short, or a lot of hits and serves go too far. And for the Knights, it's been the latter. Another point for Arcadia as that hit from Jeremy Brown sails out of bounds. Arcadia brings it back within 3. And if I'm not mistaken, 17 points is the most points scored against Southern Virginia in a set so far this season. Here's Brown. Blocked straight back that time by Kevin Abraham. Brings it within 2.
Yeah, I don't remember each set score from Lancaster Bible, but we know that Penn State Altoona, the Knights set a record for defense, essentially, by allowing, the fewest points allowed ever in a three-set match. And Penn State Altoona didn't score over 15 points in that match. And then we'd have to look back, but I think you're right. 18, I think, for certain, is the most.
Absolutely.
That anybody has managed thus far.
Again, Arcadia coming in here with a lot of motivation. Again, in spite of not having one of their leaders on the floor, Andrew On, who, again, if you're just tuning in, suffered a pre-game injury in warm-ups. But right now, Arcadia has a lot of the momentum. Their middle blockers are exactly where they need to be, doing a good job of getting in front of both Jeremy Brown and Christian Schaefer. And also, again, you see a lot of mistakes from Southern Virginia, a lot of hits going too far out, a lot of serves that are too far, a lot of these self-inflicted wounds that have made this a closer first set than, of course, they would like it to be.
Right, this is the closest set that we've seen thus far in this young season. 20-18, nobody's pushed the Knights to that point. And, this could be just a little bit of what we talked about in the opening, where the Knights, maybe a little bit of complacency, a little bit, they're down their best player, maybe a little, loss of focus, not being quite as sharp as they'd like to be.
Right, and for Southern Virginia, like you mentioned, this being the closest we've seen a set so far, how do they respond? How do you as a team respond to this kind of, how close this has been? Knights have a chance to set up a clean attack here. Here is Hall. That one goes down once again for Danny Gonzalez, who was very instrumental in that play on that hit from Hall. He was able to tip it up into the air, give his teammates time to get underneath and set up a play. Now within 1 point. Beautiful short serve. Knights scrambling, saving the play. Here's Brown. Gets that one to fall between the two blockers. A play that Southern Virginia desperately needed.
Jeremy Brown was waiting for that one. You could tell he wanted to get a good swing in on one, in that possession right there.
Absolutely. Now Jaden Hall back to serve for Southern Virginia. Back row. That one sails out. Arcadia thinking that a Southern Virginia player had tipped it, but no dice. Another point for Southern Virginia as they take a further lead, 22-19.
Hey, sets up. He wants to go middle.
Hall serving once again. Trying to keep that alive was Arcadia. Great diving effort there from Vincent Colucci. And the Knights now on a roll, leading now 23-19. Again, I mentioned the power of timeouts in the game of volleyball, how quickly on a dime the momentum can shift between timeout and going back into action. But right there was a perfect example of a team facing adversity for arguably the first time this season. Again, how do you respond? Do you let the momentum shift continue? Do you allow them to continue to play the way they are, or do you make your adjustments? Do you make sure you tighten things up, make sure you play more of your fundamentals and play who you are? And right now, Southern Virginia, again, showing great resiliency and standing up to that situation.
Absolutely. During that last timeout, Coach Peterson, he remained calm.
Right.
Didn't hear exactly what he was saying, but I'm sure he was just reminding them of who they are, what they've been practicing. Go back to them controlling the game and not let Arcadia feel like they had control of the set there.
And you mentioned, Coach Peterson being very quiet on the sidelines, saying, hey, matter of fact, that's Coach Peterson for you. That's one thing you come to know if you're around him in Southern Virginia. He's not a very loud guy, but he's very much to the point. He's like, hey, we're not making these such and such plays. Let's correct this. This is what we can do. And he's been there, done that, so he knows how to correct it. Now, of course, for Arcadia's side, you've seen the momentum shift. The Knights of Southern Virginia looking to close this first set. How does head coach Adam Hamad look to respond? Of course, Adam Hamad in his first season as the head coach for the Knights of Arcadia. Here's Hall to serve. Beautiful serve, hits the back line. Service ace, now set point. Gonzalez forced to hit it over, and that's too far, and it gives the Knights of Southern Virginia the victory in this first set of the Battle of the Knights.
Behind some good serving there at the end by Jayton Hall. Changed it up a little bit. He varied his speeds there, and ended up scoring those points to finish off that first set.
Absolutely. Again, I'll point this out whenever this happens. If you're a team that hasn't faced a lot of adversity so far, it's good sign for head coach Tom Peterson and Southern Virginia. The first instance that you see that, you respond in this way. You respond where you come back, you make some plays of your own, and you're able to get the job done to finish out a set.
I'd say absolutely Coach Peterson is begging Arcadia to play above their heads and challenge his team to see how they react.
Right.
That's how you get better. He's seen his team manhandle 2 opponents thus far. He doesn't necessarily need to see that. The schedule is what it is.
Right.
But you know that he's hoping that Arcadia brings all their weapons. He was probably, as are the competitors. I'm sure Southern Virginia, they would have loved to see Andrew on the floor and provide the challenges that he provides as the player that he is.
Right, absolutely. Again, just giving you that much more adversity to work through. But with this break between sets, we want to thank our athletic partners, Straws Drinks and Eats here in Buena Vista, Virginia. I'm a huge fan of Straws Drinks and Eats. My wife and I go there frequently. Again, if you're looking for just some good treats, sodas, cookies, whatever the case may be, or if you just want to have a nice relaxing time in the Buena Vista, Virginia area, go to Straws Drinks and Eats. Highly recommend it. Thanks so much, Straws, for your support of Southern Virginia athletics. Now, again, we talk about, you're looking at your schedule. Again, if you're Coach Tom Peterson, you see the win-loss record. You see you're starting 2-0. Any coach will look at that and think, that's a good start. But like you said, Colby, you being a coach yourself, if you have a team that's on a roll, there's a worry that creeps in the back of your mind. Like, are we still going through everything we need to do? Are we still focusing on the fundamentals? Are we getting too full of how good we are to focus on what we need to do? And again, good sign for Southern Virginia standing up to adversity like that. But now if you're Arcadia, you saw in those last couple plays that you can play with the Knights of Southern Virginia. You can challenge them. You can make it a 1-point set. Now, what do you take from that first set and bring to the second to make things evened out at 1 set apiece? That question remains to be answered here in the second set.
Well, and that's exactly the question they're going to look at. For them, it's not good news that, I think you and I both agree that in the first 2 matches, Southern Virginia improved.
Yes.
In both of those matches as it went along.
Absolutely.
The first sets were probably the shakiest sets that they played. Maybe Penn State Altoona, they started a little bit slow in the second set,
right.
But they quickly corrected that. And from then on, they've really dominated. So for Arcadia's standpoint, thinking, hey, we gave them a good fight. Let's do that again. See how Southern Virginia responds, and if that trend continues where they get stronger as their match goes on.
Right, and if you're Arcadia University, one of those things you want to focus on that worked so well for you in that first set was your middle blockers. Your middle blockers were always in the right spot. They always were. It was very rare to see them not in position to make a play on a hit. And so keep that up. Make sure you keep your hands facing to the inside so any block goes back to the inside of the court. Just keep that up. And again, it's frustrated the Knights from time to time. And make sure they're always looking for either Jeremy Brown or Christian Schaefer. Because, again, they're going to try to get to him because they make plays.
And that was what happened in the middle of that first set where the Knights hitters were really looking a lot, trying to find some gaps there in the blockers, and that caused them problems.
And that's going to go out again. Being on the spot, Kevin Abraham was there, but it goes out of bounds, giving the first point to the Knights of Southern Virginia. Now back to serve is Jeremy Brown. Able to be there was Hall. Back row hit, Jeremy Brown, and just like that, We talked about it, Kevin Abraham. He's been all over the place, getting his hand involved in all sorts of plays. Gets a block right there, another point for Arcadia. Now back to serve is Danny Gonzalez, who's another player who's been all over the place. On defense, at the net. Bianchine gets that one to fall. Right in that backside there on the back line. And Bianchine will go back to serve. We didn't see a whole lot of Bianchine later in that first set. So maybe the adjustment of having someone else rotating in there was something that the Knights were adjusting to, or of course the Knights of Southern Virginia. The set just a little bit off, intended that time for Owen Heft. Brown gets that one to fall. Again, you blink, the ball's making contact with Jeremy Brown's hand, and then you open your eyes, the ball has hit the floor inbounds for a point. That's how much power is in those hits from Jeremy Brown.
Very strong hit from the back row again, and nobody there from Arcadia.
There's Abraham. Winning the battle to net that time was Tyler Schaefer. But straight back down by Rasmussen. Another point for Southern Virginia and another time behind the line for Bianchine. There's from the outside. Another block for Rasmussen. That time intending to hit from the outside was number 8, Dylan Zimmerman. It was a good approach, it was a good pass. It's just Rasmussen and Schaefer were right there.
Yeah, they set up well with good angles to get that and make sure it was blocked down inside the court rather than glancing off and going out of bounds.
Bianchine to serve once again. That one sails on Bianchine. They may have tossed it a little too far forward, trying to chase after it. But now back to serve for Arcadia is number 6, Cameron Birch, a freshman from Boiling Springs, Pennsylvania. It's going to go out. Point for Southern Virginia. Again, another example of a player for Arcadia being in the right spot. Zimmerman was right there, ready to make that block. But Schaefer, what happened there on that hit is he hit Zimmerman's outside hand.
Yep. It was a good-looking play, too, there. Great play by the Schaefer brothers.
Rasmussen, once again, right there to prevent the play. We didn't see a whole lot of blocks from him in that first set, but he has come alive to start this one. Rasmussen now with 5 blocks in today's match. Make that 6. Goodness, the senior having a day. Actually, they're going to say it was a point for Arcadia. I believe they're going to say that Rasmussen got into the net a little bit. Which is unfortunate because the arena got really loud when that happened because, again, Rasmussen's been on a roll.
I think just now Arcadia realizes that they were actually given the point there.
So now back to serve for Arcadia is number 1, Owen Heft. Still some communications here from the down ref. Here's Schaefer. Able to be there was Gonzalez, but the power on that hit from Schaefer, that's really hard to contain.
As so many of the Knights hitters do. They have such power behind those swings that, you know, it's gutsy just to get in front of it.
That's why it takes a very special kind of athlete to be in the back row of a volleyball game, and that serve from Schaefer got there before anyone from Arcadia noticed it, and it had such good top spin that they didn't realize it was going to be inbounds till the very last second. And Christian Schaefer to serve once again. Some great work at the net for Southern Virginia. That time was a block for number 7, Ryan Miller. Point for Arcadia. Number 8, Dylan Zimmerman will be back to serve for Arcadia as they bring things back within 5. Here's Brown. Only person in front of him that time was number 12, Vaughn McConnell. I don't know if something happened with Arcadia's rotation there, but there was absolutely no one, almost no one to meet Jeremy Brown at the net. There was no one backing up number 12, Vaughn McConnell, on that hit. But Stephen Rasmussen back to serve. Diving for it that time was Tyler Schaefer, but that goes down as a point for Arcadia. Very well placed that time. Now back to serve as number 7, Ryan Miller. Here's Hall. And unable to corral that one was Ryan Miller. Another kill for Southern Virginia. Now back to serve as number 15, Jayton Hall. Hall has 4 kills so far in today's game, as well as 1 service ace. Here's Bianchine. The one pass. A little bit of jawing here between Bianchine and Abraham at the net. Definitely some tie competition there as Bianchine rose up. Abraham was there, just getting in position a little late. I think Bianchi just got a little bit excited.
A little bit excited, and that was, again, that quick set there in the middle there. That they've gone to that several times with Bianchine in the lineup here tonight.
Right.
That was probably the best timed and best play there that they've made on that one, and so I think he was just excited to they got the timing down, and he hit it hard, and Abraham at the net maybe took a little bit of exception to that, but they're competitors out there. They
Right.
shook hands. They'll be all right.
And I'm sure Coach Tom Peterson, being the professional that he is, probably going to the huddle this timeout saying, let's make sure we're excited, but let's contain ourselves a little bit, make sure we don't get anything get out of hand on us here in the barn. But right now, Southern Virginia with a 7-point lead. Again, we've seen Arcadia battle back, bring it back within 5 on a couple occasions. The Knights on a little bit of a run right now. And again, I specify which Knights, which is always fun with this game. But again, more of the same. We're still seeing some great net work from Arcadia, getting people at the net, ready to block, but Southern Virginia finding those gaps and those blocks, able to really, another thing too is that Southern Virginia outside hitters can really elevate. So if they can't find the gap, they're able to go at least over top. And for the most part, Arcadia's been able to keep those plays alive, able to tip it, keep it up in the air, so the back row can keep it up and keep it in play. But the Knights of Southern Virginia doing a better job of avoiding straight up blocks.
Exactly. We saw that adjustment made in their last match against Lancaster Bible.
Yeah.
First set, Lancaster kind of hung around, and then we saw very distinctly that they made the adjustment by trying to set the ball a little higher, let the hitters go up a little bit higher and hit down on it. And we've seen a little bit of that here. And also, the Knights just have so many different weapons out there on the floor.
Now back to serve for Southern Virginia is number 15, Jayton Hall. Great serve. Here's Gonzalez. Had to sort of hit it behind his head on that one, but gets it to fall for Arcadia. Gonzalez that time gets his 3rd kill of the game. And back to serve is number 12, Vaughn McConnell. Here's Brown. Off the hand of Abraham, but it goes out of bounds. Again, Abraham just right there. Looks like it came off of Christian Schaefer's head. It got through his hands, hit off his head, and went out of bounds. Schaefer laughing that one off. Now Danny Gonzalez back to serve for Arcadia. That one curved a little bit off the serve, going out of bounds. Another point for Southern Virginia. And coming back in is Steven Rasmussen, looking to see some more great middle blocking action from him as Bianchi will go back to serve. From the outside. That will go down as a block. That time by Tyler Schaefer. Rasmussen was right there, but Tyler Schaefer got basically the brunt of that one. On the hit that time, I believe, was Owen Heft, and he's over here talking to the down ref about something he didn't like on that play. Maybe he's talking about something in the rotation of Southern Virginia. Not quite sure exactly what the conversation was.
Well, we've seen a couple of those conversations tonight. We haven't seen any of that in the previous two, so they picked up on something.
That hit's just going to sail out off the hand of number 1, Owen Heft. And you know, there's kind of a pattern here for Arcadia is that they've really struggled getting plays set up and getting accurate sets. You've seen some outside hitters approach the ball, and they've had to stop their approach, kind of hold themselves back a little bit, jump upward rather than forward to get the hit, which really takes away from the power you can have. And so again, that's one thing Arcadia needs to tweak a little bit, and they're in business. That one goes out off the serve from Bianchi. Some substitutions for Arcadia, including number 7, Ryan Miller, and number 6 will be going back to serve, Cameron Birch. Float serve from Birch. Schaefer to Schaefer. Call it the Schaefer special. And sometimes those kind of plays just look easy. Tyler Schaefer's just standing there. Christian Schaefer's coming up. Doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of build-up to it. Sets it right up, short serve or short set, straight down.
Christian's 6'6". He can jump out of the gym, and Tyler just threw that up there for him. Go get it.
Off the hand of Rasmussen, that goes out of bounds. Goes down to the kill for number 8, Dylan Zimmerman for Arcadia. Back to serve for Arcadia's number 1, Owen Heft. As they are down by 8 to Southern Virginia in this second set. Here's Brown. Off the hand of Zimmerman that time. Zimmerman's another player for Arcadia that's also been in the right places. Just not quite able to get the angle he wants, because he barely got in position that time.
Well, that's part of the night's, Southern Virginia's game, where just hit it hard. You hit it hard off those blocks. It's going to be really hard for them to be able to keep it in the court.
Plus also, Tyler Schaefer's doing a great job with deceiving the defense with his body language. It looks like he's going to set it towards the far side of the outside hitter, but really he's going to be setting it backwards to someone like, say, Jeremy Brown, which makes it really hard for the defense to adjust. Now number 11, Christian Schaefer back to serve for Southern Virginia. That serve just short into the net. Makes service error number 10 for SVU. And now serving is Zimmerman. Rasmussen adjusting in the air. to that pass. Not the prettiest setup you'll see for a play there, as there's a lot of scrambled passes trying to keep it alive. But Tyler Schaefer gets it to the outside, and the Knights able to knock it down.
Scramble is exactly the word that I had in my mind to describe that as well.
If that were a type of egg you're getting at Waffle House, that'd be called scrambled.
That is scramble.
Another short serve for Southern Virginia, make that service error number 11 compared to the 4 for Arcadia. Now serving number 7, Ryan Miller. Bianchi going up against Abraham. That time, he doesn't win that one-on-one battle. I think I'd argue that that set was also a little short, so might have just gone into the net anyways had Abraham not been there. Here's Hall. Keeping it alive that time with Schaefer. They're going to call net that time on number 9, Riley Kodadek. Tyler Schaefer somehow able to keep it alive. Got some substitutions for Southern Virginia in number 18, Kyler Evans, as well as number 13, Jeff Tomlinson, and he'll be serving in place of Jaden Hall. Southern Virginia knocking on the door of victory in this second set. Waiting for the all clear. Able to get there, but not able to keep it contained with Zimmerman. And that goes down as Kyler Evans' first kill of the night. It's like we were talking about early in the game, Colby, how in the game against Penn State Altoona, Southern Virginia was really able to utilize a lot of their weapons, get everybody on the roster on the floor, get some valuable minutes. That's another example right there. Play is still going, even though it looks like a very late whistle here, as what we suspected, that was 4 hits for Arcadia. As Danny Gonzalez is going to the left side, and he hit it back into the field of play. It just took a really long time for the officials to come together and say, yeah, that was 4 hits.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if they thought that maybe the Southern Virginia player also touched it because it was near the net.
Right.
So I think the 2 referees just had to kind of look at each other and make sure they were getting the call right.
Right, and it's absolutely important to get the call right rather than make a rushed, incorrect judgment. But also, you got to credit both teams. When there was no whistle, and they thought, well, obviously that's 4 hits, they still kept going.
Absolutely. I always talk about playing to the whistle.
Right.
And there wasn't a whistle, even though it seemed obvious that there were too many hits here on the Arcadia side. But both teams played it out until there was a whistle, and point was awarded to Southern Virginia University.
And you see so many plays, at least I've seen plenty of highlights, whether it be on YouTube or Instagram, of volleyball games where a team thinks that they got the point, they celebrate a little too early, no whistle is blown, the other team comes back, gets a point to either win the set or bring it back to being even. You definitely don't want those plays to happen in a team coached by a coach like Tom Peterson. You expect that not to happen, which of course it didn't.
Absolutely. Coach Peterson, you know he demands that there's play all the way to the whistle. Never assume anything.
Right. I mean, he's a multiple-time national champion head coach for a reason. Now back to serve for Southern Virginia's number 13, Jeff Tomlinson. Southern Virginia 2 points away from extending their set lead from 1 to 2. Here's Gonzalez. Off the fingertips of Bianchi.
Gonzalez has been impressive. You figure he's only 5'10", and he's had a considerable number of kills here tonight.
He's had
for
3.
Arcadia.
Yeah, 4, I believe, actually 3 kills so far. and he's got a 91 hitting percentage. But you mentioned he's just been very, very impressive all around. Back row, he's got a lot of good work in the back row. Serve receives, digs. Front row, he's able to do a lot of blocking as well. Got great hops to him.
At 5'10", you would think he's more of a libero-type player, staying back there looking for digs, passing, setting, but he's right there to block, to hit, whatever is necessary.
It's the kind of player that coaches, whenever they're recruiting and they see highlight reels of a player like that, they're licking their chops saying, we want this guy on our roster.
Absolutely.
And speaking of which, Gonzalez back to serve for Arcadia. Tomlinson to set to Schaefer. It was tipped that time by Owen Heft. And that'll be the second set. Southern Virginia wins that one by a score 25-14. Southern Virginia able to dominate that second set a little bit more than the first. Again, tighten some things up. Kind of we mentioned the trend so far is the first set's a little rough, hitting things a little too far or a little too short. Some things are not quite timed as well. But the trend continues that Southern Virginia tightens things up in the second set. And who knows, maybe it'll look even better in the third.
Yeah, we'll see what they do, see what Coach Peterson chooses to do. Yeah, like we mentioned, the first match of the season, everybody on the roster made it into play. The second match, that wasn't the case. So, he may think, okay, I got a 2-set lead here. Let's, open up the rotation a little bit, maybe give a couple of these other players another opportunity to get some time on the floor.
Right, absolutely. And with this short break, we want to once again thank our athletic partners, Straws Drinks and Eats, here in Buena Vista, Virginia. You're in the mood for a soda, you're in the mood for treats, in the mood for a place you can just relax. Absolutely go and check out Straws Drinks and Eats in Buena Vista, Virginia.
So can we please have one more round of applause for our officials this evening?
Got a nice tribute to the officials here in Knight Arena. I love things like that because oftentimes, again, Colby, as a coach, you know more than anyone that refs oftentimes get the short end of the stick as far as appreciation in sports a lot of times.
Well, the very best acclaim you can receive as an official of any kind in sports is none at all.
Right.
That's the very best. That's the attention. You go on the floor, on the field, on the diamond, whatever it is, hoping that you're not the focus of the attention at any point in time.
Right, absolutely, because whenever the refs are in the center of attention, it's not a good thing.
Right.
It's fans screaming like the classic saying, are you blind or whatnot, but we've seen great officiating tonight from our refs here in Knight Arena for this matchup. And I just love seeing that love shared for officiating because it's a tough job. It's a very tough job to do.
It's a tough job, and I'm looking at the center official over there on the ladder, and he's uncomfortable by the recognition he just received.
You love to see it, though. You love to see it. It's
maybe if they got in his face and screamed the words of, appreciation, he might have appreciated it a little bit more.
Absolutely. Again, we love to see it as the Knights of Southern Virginia enter to this third set, leading 2-0. We'll see if Southern Virginia can start off the season with 3 straight sweeps. As right now, they have won 8 sets and lost 0 in 2023. And I'm sure Southern Virginia coming in, winning 6-0 so far this year. I'm sure that's something that was on Arcadia's minds to some degree.
Absolutely, that'd be a small victory. You don't like to say moral victory, but to at least be able to say, hey, you know what? We were the first team that got them a set.
Right.
We took a set from them this year.
So now back to serve for Southern Virginia to begin this third and potentially final set is number 15, Jayton Hall. Here's Gonzalez. Playing off the ceiling was Jeremy Brown. Play is still alive. Miscommunication there on that play. Here's Brown. It's going to go out of bounds, make a point for Arcadia. But that was a really smart play just now from Jeremy Brown a couple passes before. Because for the viewers who may not know, in the arena it's a shorter ceiling. So if the ball is going over the net and it touches the ceiling in any way, it counts as a point for the other side. The ball is very close to the net. Jeremy Brown came out to it, played it like basically a freebie ball, trying to hit it back, keeping the play going. It's absolutely a beautiful setup.
Very heads-up play.
Yes. Again, that comes from practicing in the barn all week long as that goes down for Bianchine.
Yeah, going back to that Jeremy Brown play, that's one of those situations where he had absolutely nothing to lose.
Right.
If he backs off and that ball falls on Arcadia's side of the court, it's a point for Arcadia.
Right.
He went up there, reached as far as he could, just at least touch the ball to keep it in play.
Bianchine keeps it alive with his foot, but it goes too far out for anyone to get it. Jeremy Brown getting the closest by sliding. But Arcadia now takes a 2-1 lead early in this third set. Now back to serve for Arcadia's number 3, Danny Gonzalez. That serve goes into the net.
Bianchine being from Brazil, he'll be bragging about that little shot off his foot for a while, probably. Probably a little upset they couldn't keep that up and going so he could have something to tell his family back home about.
Absolutely, you love to see plays like that. And Bianchi now back to serve. He's probably telling his teammates, I'm one of the only people that could have kept the play alive in that fashion. That serve just short for Bianchi. Gives the lead back to Arcadia. Checking in to serve for Arcadia's number 6, Cameron Birch. Float serve for Birch. Sets it up for Schaefer. Goes off the hand of Heft. Goes out of bounds, point Southern Virginia. Tied back up at 3. Serving now, Tyler Schaefer, the down ref fixing the antenna here on the near side on the net. Raising the top of the net on that serve. Keeping it alive is Hall. Schaefer outside. Gonzalez trying to corral it, isn't able to. Lead goes back to Southern Virginia.
That was a great play by Tyler Schaefer. He had to really move to go get that.
Yes.
Just threw it up in the air knowing little brother would be there somewhere.
I call net. And that's on Christian Schaefer. Christian Schaefer is trying to argue that since it grazed the roof on the way back over and it got to his side and he hit it, that it should count as a point for Southern Virginia. Christian Schaefer giving a handshake to the down ref here. So will count as a point for Arcadia. But of course, Christian Schaefer went too far into the net on that play. He had the right idea. Beautiful setup. Just go up and get it. One of the rare mistimed sets between the Schaefer brothers. I believe Christian Schaefer took off just a little too early for that one. Lead goes back to Arcadia. Serving now is Owen Heft. Schaefer to Hall. Brown keeps it alive. Here's Schaefer to Schaefer. Contact made by Dylan Zimmerman, but it ricochets off the net, goes out of bounds off of Arcadia. Point to Southern Virginia, ties it back up at 5. So far in this third and potentially final set, neither team making it easy for the other one whatsoever.
No, Arcadia, they don't want to be done yet. They want to keep going. They're here playing a nationally ranked team and figure, get their monies out of it, get their money's worth.
Put back down that time by Jayton Hall.
Like you said, they'd love to be the first team to take a set from Southern Virginia this year.
Right.
And then, the old cliche, it's one set at a time, right? Get the first one, now why not go get another one?
Right, absolutely. Volleyball, like any other sport, it's one play at a time, one set at a time. Take what the other team gives you. Set up to Hall. Getting the dig that time was Vincent Colucci. Got a good rally here. Here's Brown. Puts it straight down. Right in between Miller and Kodadek.
Yeah, you can see there's just a little gap there between the two blockers there for Arcadia. And Jeremy Brown was able to put the ball right between that.
Absolutely. The best hitters you'll see know how to read those gaps between blockers. They don't just see hands right there and get intimidated. They look for ways to get past it. Also in the set, Arcadia struggling with serve receive. As that goes down, great hesitation hit from Christian Schaefer. Again, several times now Arcadia on serve receives has either passed it back too far or made it to where it's really difficult for their setter to get a solid pass to the outside, which has really been the main difference right now in this very close third set.
That has been. They've done a pretty good job of that in the first two sets.
That set intended for Miller was just short off of Riley Kodadek. Got a timeout called by Arcadia as Southern Virginia has a 9-5 lead here in this third and potentially final set.
Yeah, for the first time tonight, we saw there a little bit of frustration come out there of the Arcadia players. I'm sure there's other times you get a little frustrated, but right there, when it becomes visible, they're starting to feel it. And, they obviously want to get this set and extend the match, but right there, that's why I'm sure Coach Hamad there said we need a timeout right now and try and get this train back on the tracks.
Right, absolutely. Again, as a coach, you need to make sure that if the other team's on a run, you need to take some time, talk to your players, calm them down, say, hey, let's break things down into what we can do. Again, you've had great work at the net all game long with Abraham. You've also had that with Gonzalez as well. Let's just get back to what we know and try to derail this momentum train that Southern Virginia is on right now. Again, Southern Virginia's game plan in this third set hasn't been necessarily clean. They've had to make some work out of scrambled or sloppy plays. And so, like you mentioned, Coach Hamad is thinking to himself, we can take advantage of that. We just need better serve receives, get that good first pass going. And again, we're in business.
Absolutely. If they've been a little bit cleaner, the score could be exactly the opposite of what it is, or 7-7, something like that.
Right.
And he just senses right now they need to get this going back, playing well, playing clean, and keep it as close as possible for as long as possible.
And now back to serve for Southern Virginia is number 11, Christian Schaefer. Much better first pass. Tyler Schaefer able to get there. Reaching up. They're going to call a double here. I believe that's on Jayton Hall. But if that weren't a double, that would have been a highlight of the year for Jeremy Brown. It wasn't a hard hit, but he stretched up his full length, got to the ball and put it back down. It would have been an incredible play.
And that set from Jayton Hall was a great set, but it looked like he probably did just get that with two hands at the wrong time.
That goes down for Rasmussen. Beautiful setup. Rasmussen gets a kill there. Then coming into serve. And in the game for the first time today is number 14, Curtis Stone. We saw a lot of him when Southern Virginia faced off against Lancaster Bible. That serve just a little short. He had a couple of service aces against Lancaster Bible. Not able to connect that time. Now back to serve for Arcadia's number 7, Ryan Miller. Bianchine, the setup. There was no one there in that opening.
No, again, that's, the Arcadia University done a pretty good job at organizing their block throughout the night, but that time they left that center of the net wide open.
Now back to serve is Jayton Hall. Diving effort to keep it alive that time was Kodadek. Here's Brown. That goes down for Brown. You're starting to see a little less consistency in Arcadia's back row, not able to back up their middle blockers as well as they were in the first set and a half. Bianchine gets another kill to his name. And Southern Virginia once again continuing to ride the momentum train as they have a 6-point lead. Here's Hall once again. Here's Gonzalez. Neither Tyler Schaefer or Crystal Bianchine knew where the ball was, weren't able to keep it alive, so it goes down as a kill for Gonzalez. That's always a tough play too, where it bounces up, you're trying to figure out where it is, you have limited time.
Jayton Hall gave it his best effort. He almost made it.
Diving effort by Colucci. Here's Schaefer from the back row. Once again, Colucci, Johnny on the spot. Diving effort from Madsen. Proves fruitless as that goes down as a kill for number 8, Dylan Zimmerman. Again, same pattern for the first 2 sets. Southern Virginia goes on a run. Arcadia battles back, whittles away at that lead. Here's Hall. They're calling net here. I believe they're going to call that on Kevin Abraham, as he was the man in that general vicinity. Now back to serve for Southern Virginia's number 4, Jeremy Brown.
Takes a kill away from Jayton Hall right there.
Outside, Gonzalez. The set to Hall. So they're going to say that no one on Arcadia's side had touched it. It ricocheted off the net, went out of bounds off of Southern Virginia. So the point goes to Arcadia, and I believe that's the right call.
I believe so too. I didn't think that ever got above the tape there on the net. I didn't see anybody from Arcadia really get to it.
Gonzalez back to serve for Arcadia, and checking in for Southern Virginia for the first time tonight, number 5, Mateo Kimball. The crowd here at the barn loves Mateo.
Absolutely.
Abraham keeps it alive. Schaefer to Bianchine. Kimball keeps it alive. Pass to Schaefer. Past the wall of 3 defenders. There was literally 3 blockers for Arcadia in position. And somehow Schaefer was able to squeeze it through, get it to go out of bounds off Arcadia.
I think that there's just an example we talk about. Get that set up really high. He can jump so high, and he literally was hitting that down on that ball even though he was away from the net.
Now back to serve is Bianchine. Block that time. Beautiful textbook block from Christian Schaefer. Just goes about his business like it was nothing.
Little show of emotion there from the sophomore too. Usually he's pretty stoic, but he really liked that block, as he should.
Again, one-on-one at the net, able to get that block as beautiful as it was. That'll make any volleyball player smile. Abraham able to get that one to fall in front of Rasmussen. Brings it back within 4. Checking in once again for Southern Virginia is number 14, Curtis Stone, the sophomore from Gilbert, Arizona. And back to serve for Arcadia is number 6, Cameron Birch. Another kill for Christian Schaefer. Schaefer now with 14 kills in the game. He leads both teams in that category. Conversation here between Southern Virginia coach Tom Peterson and the down ref here with Tyler Schaefer to serve. Madsen to Hall. Here's Gonzalez. That one sails out, making it 18-11. Another substitution for Southern Virginia, number 18, Kyler Evans. Again, Southern Virginia utilizing this time late in the third set to get some other players in, get them some playing time. That serve sails. Gets away from Tyler Schaefer. And now sends number 1, Owen Heft, back to serve for Arcadia. And it's great in these first couple of games for Southern Virginia where they've been able to take care of business. That early in the season, these younger players are getting these reps. These younger players are getting in there, getting that experience. And, you know, Colby, you as a coach, speaking from experience, what can you say about those situations where you can really put those players in? How does that feel for the people on the sideline? How does it feel for the coaches? What is that like when you can do that?
Well, I think one of the great things about that is, you know, we have a culture here at Southern Virginia when it comes to men's volleyball. So you get these younger players in, and they wonder what type of contribution are they going to be able to make. They look up to some of the seniors like Steven Rasmussen and Tyler Schaefer, and you know, for them to be able to get out on the floor in the first game, 2, 3 games, it gives them the confidence that they belong and they can play at this level. And so it's just going to make them hungrier and hungrier and work harder and harder in practice and really feel like they belong and perpetuate that culture that Coach Peterson has set here. Absolutely, and there's a substitution for Arcadia in number 10, Evan Rothman, the junior from Hatfield, Pennsylvania. Now with Christian Schaefer back to serve for Southern Virginia. Diving effort there from Colucci. Another diving effort that time from Tyler Schaefer. Hitting the ceiling to the advantage of Southern Virginia. That goes down after the hit from number 18, Kyler Evans. Yeah, just to go back to that just a little bit, you know, as a coach, you always love to reward your players. Right. You know, so you get these young players in. They're on the floor because they have been working hard in practice. Right. You know, they haven't been sitting back, taking it easy. They definitely have been working hard in practice. So Coach Peterson, he's looking for ways to reward that. Right. Absolutely, because again, a lot of times, you know, either viewers that come to the games or watch the broadcast, they only see the product on the court. They don't see the hard work that goes into behind the scenes every single day, you know, in the gym, in the weight room, right? You don't see those small details, but the coach does. And when viewers can see that same thing in the game setting, it's a beautiful thing. And that goes down for Southern Virginia. Southern Virginia on the verge of a sweep with a timeout here from Arcadia as they trail by 9. Well, one of the fun things about coming to these games is just the passion and the fun that this Southern Virginia University men's volleyball team plays with. Right. You know, they look like they're best friends. And as a coach, you tell your players, you don't all have to be best friends. You know, you might need time away from each other, you know, outside of practice, outside of games, outside of travel. But you look at this group of guys here, and when one of them comes off the floor and is being replaced, he has a smile on his face, like he's genuinely happy for his teammate that's about to take the floor. You know, they're always talking, always congratulating one another, and that's what we're talking about. That's why this isn't going to be the last year that Southern Virginia men's volleyball has a good team.
Right. Again, because like you mentioned, they established that culture of togetherness, and that's one thing I've noticed in my years at Southern Virginia is how a lot of the coaches on this campus emphasize that, right? That togetherness, that relationship, to the point where basically your teammates are your brothers and sisters, right? Point where you have each other's back and you support each other in whatever you're doing. And right now, some main statistics that are pointing out to me in this, or coming out to me on the stat sheet for this game, has been attack errors and blocks. Southern Virginia, with the past 2 games, weren't very active in the block category. That wasn't really happening a whole lot. But in this game, they have 12 block assists and 3 solo blocks, compared to 6 block assists for Arcadia and 0 solo blocks. But again, Arcadia's been getting in position. They just haven't been able to get those blocks to fall down in their favor, and it's that discrepancy that's causing them issues. And that serve that time from number 17, Connor Stokes, who was subbed in. It was a little lower than you'd like it to be.
A little bit lower. He'd like to have that one back. There's no mulligans here, not tonight.
Right.
And we also should mention Bryce Stringham also entered the game, which means every player on the roster, other than the injured McKay Walker, has appeared on the court tonight once again.
That serve that time from Ryan Miller. We'll call a double there on Bryce Stringham. Southern Virginia 3 points away from the sweep. And like you mentioned, Colby, that Arcadia is trying to avoid that. The problem with Southern Virginia's rotation here. So another point of work.
Still beyond Keene was behind the 10-meter or the 3-meter line when the serve was hit. Or off the court. He was wandering a little bit.
And that one falls for Evans with the assist from Stringham. And again, one thing we've noticed in these first couple games too is that when Southern Virginia's been able to get their extra players in, they've still been productive. You have plenty of situations in other sports or other games where you put in some people on the bench and then you start to see a surge from the other team. That hasn't necessarily been the case yet for Southern Virginia.
Not at all. They've played even, if not stretched the lead when they got in there. And again, that just goes back to the culture where you're stressing that competition amongst teammates.
Right.
And that's the healthiest type of competition there can be. That's what ensures the culture and that the program's going to be strong moving forward.
That last block was from Abraham. They're calling another double on Stringham. Struggling to get a clean set. So point for Arcadia. Brings it back within 5 with number 10, Evan Rothman, back to serve. A great short serve, and Bianchine was in a situation where he couldn't quite get a clean receive. Coach Tom Peterson calling a timeout for Southern Virginia. Again, they're just 2 points away from closing out the sweep. Coach Peterson not liking the last couple of plays as things were tiny bit sloppy. You had a couple of doubles called. You had some awkward rotation happening that awarded a point to Arcadia. You had a serve receive that, again, wasn't ideal with Bianchi just a few moments before. So again, you want to clean some things up. You want to have it to where you don't give away this third set in a sweep. Again, you just want to close out the game as clean as possible, going down to the fundamentals, and just make sure you get out of here with, again, clean volleyball being played.
And again, we talk about the demeanor of Coach Peterson here on the sideline. Very quiet, very stoic. And I heard him say after the previous play, one more. And you know what? Let's be patient. See if they can right the ship themselves. And then with that little service there, on Bianchine, he got up and said, "Okay, now let's take that timeout. It's 23-19. Let's talk now and let's get this ship, back where it needs to be." And so we'll see how the Knights respond. If we go back to the other timeouts that Coach Peterson's taken, they'll respond here with a little run here and close out the game.
Serving once again for Arcadia is number 10, Evan Rothman. Stringham. Bianchi wins the battle at the net, but ends up going out of bounds off of Arcadia. Now set point for Southern Virginia. Abraham was there, and it fell in front of him. He tried to keep it alive. And I believe it was Gonzalez who came in and tried to hit it, and it sailed out. Now back to serve is number 5, Mateo Kimball. And that goes into the net. Southern Virginia gets another sweep. They are now 3-0 on the year in their win-loss record and 9-0 in set victories. So as far as beginnings of seasons go, that's about as good of a start as you want.
Yeah, so far, it's perfect. 9-0 set-wise, 3-0 on the victories. And again, the fact that Coach Peterson took that timeout there, 2 points away from the victory, he left the 6 players on the floor that were on there when he took the timeout. So just another opportunity for him to show those players that he has confidence in them to close out the match.
Absolutely, and looking at some statistical leaders for today's game. For Arcadia, Danny Gonzalez, we mentioned how impressive he was in this entire game. He led the way for the Knights of Arcadia with 5 kills. He was followed by Ryan Miller with 4, Owen Heft with 4, and Dylan Zimmerman with 3. And for Southern Virginia, leading the way in kills was Jeremy Brown, who had a monster game with 14 kills to his name. Christian Schaefer with 9, Christo Bianchi with 8, and Jayton Hall with 5 as well. And again, the Knights playing a clean game overall. They were met with a solid team in Arcadia. Respond to adversity well early in the first and second set, which is exactly what you want to see. And again, if you're Coach Peterson and the rest of the coaching staff for Southern Virginia men's volleyball, you're happy with the product you're seeing right now. Of course, room for improvement, but you're happy with what you're seeing.
Absolutely. I was just going to say, Coach Peterson, he saw some things tonight where I'm sure he's going to tell the team, good job, you're 3-0, which is where we expected to be at this point.
Right.
But tonight in this 3rd match of the season, it could have been cleaner. It could have been better, and in any championship team, they know that they've got to practice every day and fine-tune all the little things, because that's what ultimately will be the difference between success and failure.
Absolutely, and once again, a great victory for Southern Virginia, improving to 3-0. And we mentioned Straws Drinks and Eats a lot today, but if you would like to partner with SVU Athletics like Straws and Eats does and promote your business on campus, please contact Brett Schroeder at brett.schroeder@svu.edu. That is brett.schroeder@svu.edu. Once again, I'm Dawson Weidrich, joined by my good friend Colby Kent. We appreciate tuning in to tonight's broadcasting for this presentation of Southern Virginia Athletics. Good night, God bless, and go Knights.